So I was sitting outside this cafe in DC yesterday, and this brother says, "What you drinking there, sweet thing?" And he comes over and we have a conversation. At some point, he asked me how old I think he is. You know, people love that. How old are you? I'm 80. No, you're not. Yes, sir. Stop lying to this. Don't you lie to my people. Then he started telling me about the neighborhood I was sitting in. This whole thing was ghetto? All this was ghetto. And you grew up here? Yeah, I grew up right up the street. It's just beautiful. Look how it look now. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful now. But our black people had all this. It was ours. Black people had it all. And what happened? Hey, we had it. And what happened? We lost love for each other. But then the conversation got really good. And he tells me this about how much he loves Donald Trump. Donald Trump, I love him. You love him? Why do you love him? Because he made us to get it together. Woo! And the whole world, especially DC, right? And I got so excited because he said something that I have felt for a long time. I do believe that this is a revolution. I believe that Trump has forced us Black people to come together, to see the truth about this country, to remind ourselves that we're all the same, regardless of how much education we have, regardless of our skin tone, regardless of socioeconomics, regardless of any of it. We are still fighting the same battle. I believe that he has shown us how much this country really doesn't accept us and how much we need each other. And I believe we needed these reminders and that we are going back to becoming the way we were more united back during the civil rights movements or right after Reconstruction. And we're also becoming more self-reliant. It's a hard lesson, but a necessary lesson. Let me know what you think about me and Alexander and our thoughts.
So I watched that video and that's short by TheRealRandiB. And let me tell you something. I respect my elders. I do. I respect my elders, but he didn't have to go and say that. He did not have to go and talk about I love. No. 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 Absolutely not. But I do want to talk about it in terms of what has happened in terms of, just him waking up society. There's a lot of areas of society that he has woken up. And unfortunately, too many of them are not fully awakened to the damage and destruction that he is doing to this so-called United States. But how has he impacted the Black community? As a member of the Black community, one of the things that I first noticed was the way my nervous system just went, I can't even say, but my nervous system was truly affected during his first term. His first term was literally just devastating to my anxiety and things like that. And I don't care what you want to say. I've had people say, oh, that's dramatic and oh, you're doing too much. Okay, bet you're not Black, but whatever. But it did. It affected my nervous system. And now that he's been reelected, it's just that much worse. And seeing all of the discourse between Officer Tatum's and Candace Owens and the Hodge twins, people like this who are licking biscuit crumbs off the floor for this man. I understand, in a sense, where Mr. Alexander is coming from. He was alive during Jim Crow. He was probably just a little kid at the time. But, he had parents, obviously, older family members who truly understood what was going on. He may have even gone through busing and the civil rights era. He was alive during that time. And I am very certain that it would have been difficult beyond my personal comprehension, but also very, very encouraging to see the way that Black people, the Black community, was working together to fight against oppression and to build up our communities to see a greater good, fighting for a purpose. And this purpose wasn't just going to impact Black people, but it was going to impact all kinds of other people, all kinds of other so-called minority groups that weren't experiencing the freedoms or the liberties, the living standards that were allegedly promised to all Americans and all people living on American soil. So I guess in a way I can understand, he's reminiscing about a time when the Black community was stronger. It was more united. There wasn't so much, which honestly, I think I don't want to say it was planned, but it definitely helped. Misogynoir, all of the back and forth that was coming through with the Kevin Samuels and some of those other, red pill men in the Black community, even passport bros who were disparaging Black women. And there became this big divide. And it wasn't just, men in the community. I saw there were channels and social media influencers on the other side for women who were fighting back, kicking back against a lot of the stuff that these red pill men were saying. And so it brought a bigger divide in the Black community. And honestly, I was concerned that that divide was going to severely impact the presidential race. Now, obviously, the race didn't turn out the way that I was expecting it to, but I was proud to see that there was the 92% of Black female voters who actually came out to vote, who did vote for former VP Harris, and that there was, I want to say it was somewhere between 78 and 82% of Black men who came out, Black male voters who came out to vote, who voted for former VP Harris. That showed some solidarity and that showed some unity. And I was surprised to see that because of all the misogynoir. Now, the thing is, he has done enough and he has woken up enough people to really help a lot of people who didn't really understand that, hey, you're not on the same footing as you might think you are. Help them understand that you're still viewed a certain way. And when I say you, I've understood that, I'll just say we as the Black community, we're viewed a certain way. Even when I was a child, this is a random story, but I want to say 12 years old, and 7th grade, my friend and I had a white friend, and she lived just around the corner from me. We'd been friends ever since kindergarten. And so we were in 7th grade. We lived close enough to the school to where we were both able to get permission from the school to be able to go home for lunch every day. And so, I would walk to her house, kind of drop her off, so to speak, because she lived a couple houses down from the school. And then I would take the rest of the road and then around the corner to get to my house. I would leave my house a little bit earlier because I'd walk back around the corner up to her house to pick her up, so to speak. And then we'd finish the rest of the walk to school together. And so there was one day when I'd been doing this for months. I'm not sure why all of a sudden this happened, but there was a neighbor of hers, a nosy one, Karen, before we knew there were Karens. She lived a few houses down, and I remember distinctly she had like this purplish violet painted driveway, and I never understood why, but there you go. I guess she was concerned that there was a suspicious person, a suspicious Black person in the neighborhood, right? And she had been out there long enough. I didn't see her when I was walking back over to my friend's house. So I'm not sure if she was hiding in the bushes or what have you, but she was out there somewhere and she saw me go up to my friend's house, and I had stepped inside because her parents, would let me inside while I was waiting for my friend. Well, while we were inside and we were talking, that lady walked her walked herself down the street up to my friend's house and had rang the doorbell, knocked on the door. She was really, really concerned. And my friend's parents answered the door, and I couldn't hear what was going on, what was happening. But come to find out, my friend told me, and her parents later told me as well, that that lady had come over to their house because she was concerned that she saw a Black person coming up in the driveway, and she wanted to make sure that they were okay. A Black child that has been living in that neighborhood the house that we lived in at that time, I had been living in that same house since I was born, so 12 years. And again, my friend and we had been friends since kindergarten. So we often played together. It was just, I'd been up and down that street many times. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a Black person. Are you in danger? Anyway, so it's a matter of the Black community coming together and understanding that we are still seen as dangerous. We are still seen as incapable. We are still seen as less deserving. We are still seen as a threat, whether it's a threat to white men's employment because we allegedly are not qualified enough to hold these positions that we hold, although we've had to work twice as hard and get twice as educated to get our foot in the door. And people want to call it DEI hires, that we're not, built for anything other than probably where they like to see us, slave labor, that is our eternal destiny, you know? And so I guess to an extent, I can understand what he's talking about by waking Black people up, those that were sleeping. We weren't all sleeping, but also in bringing us together to have a bigger conversation to help educate and open the eyes of other people who might not understand. And that's other people within and outside of the Black community. And also to, fight the bigger fight. I also am glad to see that there are a lot more people who are coming together and they're saying, hey, I'm going to support Black owned businesses. I'm not going to go to these nail salons anymore. I'm going to go to, my Black friend or this Black lady's nail salon. I'm not going to buy, tacos over here. I'm going to buy them from this guy who's selling tacos. I am going to, cut off this person. I'm not going to go to these big name brand stores anymore. I'm going to get as many products as I can from Black creators, Black inventors, Black beauty people, stylists, whatever it may be. And I agree with that. I do. I don't love him. I can't even say it without like, no, I don't love him. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. God says to love your brother. He does. And I tell myself that all the time. And I do say that I do not hate him as an individual. I feel nothing. There is this thing that I've always believed, that if somebody's saying something about me or about my people, about my, whatever it is, if I don't respect you as a person, it doesn't land. It doesn't. So I'd have to respect him to like or dislike him. Honestly, I don't respect him at all. But what I am doing, though, is I am using this platform to talk about the way that culture has been influenced by religion, specifically Christianity. And I'm specifically going to talk about United States culture and also history, how these things have all come together to get us to a point to where we are even today. So if you like stories like this, if you want to hear more about what I have to say, I would be so, so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. My name is Amber Denise, and this is I Am Visible, Valued, and Seen. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one, y'all.